version of bid one, and then Foley was the Caterpillar unit, which was just a higher cost unit. The total cost for this unit we're recommending is $105,000. It'd be on a lease purchase, so we would have basically 5 equal payments of $21,000 for a total price of $105,000. Our budget is based on $20,000 a year for 4 years with a balloon payment of $50,000. So we're about $1,000 over for the first 4 years, and we're about $25,000 under for the 5th year. Once again, $1,000 could be found. Units used heavily. It's, as I say, loaded. It's a little larger bucket for loading material, used on a daily basis. We would recommend a purchase through a lease purchase contract with Murphy Tractor.
What's the total, I know you ran it down, I apologize, I didn't run it down, of the anticipated cost to repair this unit that you had detailed? Or just a rough estimate?
Well, detailed, identified is about basically $9,000. On top of that, you've got, paint, sandblasting. So it's, $9,000 to $10,000 to fix it, but however, it's still underpowered.
Sure. When we looked at the trade-in value that was being offered in the bids, did we consider if actually the machine, if we could get it running well, just added to the fleet, would be more of a value to the city than a $14,000 trade-in bonus? Or I guess you'd have to measure it as $23,000 since you'd have to invest in the repairs of it. Would there be enough value to offset those costs, or is it because of expected maintenance and other issues that probably come from it at its age?
I had the same question.
I think at this point, our recommendation is we really don't need 2 of those at this time, so it'd be best to take it off inventory and not carry it. Sometimes we've come in on some of the lighter units like skid steer loaders. Sometimes we will hang on to those and use those for lighter duty. But in this case, I think it's time to let this one go.
Okay.
Why did we decide to lease instead of buy it?
Basically cash flow.
Okay.
Laura, just a real quick question. I know on the last several items it's talked about going over slightly in the budget ranges. That I'm sure you've taken the time, but there's no issues with absorbing those extra costs and being able to offset with trade-in values or auction prices and things?
It's fine.
Great, thank you.
Did we look into buying a used one of these instead of brand new? I mean, we could maybe buy one of those and not have to lease it.
No, we did not. We opted for a new one, considering we're going to try and hang on to it for 10 to 15 years.
A lot of construction companies going out of business. I would think this is something that probably readily available at a heavily discounted
Sorry,
price.
we didn't look at that option. I'm sorry.
Can we look at that option in the future for these, especially these high-dollar vehicle purchases? I mean, I kind of look at it the same way again with personal vehicles. If you have to lease it, you probably can't afford to own it, and maybe if we can't afford to own it, then we should look at something we can't afford to own.
Usually if we do see a good used piece of equipment that meets our needs, we'll make a run at it.
Well, this one was purchased used, wasn't it?
This one was originally purchased used, yes. It's 5 years old.
Is the typical lifespan of a piece of equipment, I mean, is 15 years what you should expect to get out of a piece of equipment like this, or is that not sure?
I think that would be reasonable.
Okay.
I think you'll see 15 to 20, depending on the maintenance and the service.
How would council like to proceed?
I move that we authorize the purchase of a 2013 John Deere 524K wheel loader with Murphy Tractor for a total price of $105,107.35, with payments of $21,021.27 to be made annually for 5 years.
Second. Motion Freeman, second Gregorczyk, that we authorize a lease purchase of a wheel loader from Murphy Tractor. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
No.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thanks, David. New business item number 6, consider passing an ordinance adding that would be ordinance number 2424, adding the governing body rules of procedure version March 18th, 2013 to Title II, Chapter 2.05 to the Municipal Code of the City of Gardner, Kansas by incorporation by reference.
Mayor and council, your last item tonight on your agenda is consideration of the governing body rules of procedure document. As you know, last week, staff brought to you, at your request, a draft appointment process for your boards and council here at this, boards and commissions. And we made some tweaks, some changes as you requested. We have incorporated that process into your governing body rules of procedure document, and we are asking for your approval this evening of this document.
I just wanted to make certain, Doreen, that's the only change that's been made to the document from where we've discussed it earlier. Is the
Correct, and I can go over those if you'd like.
I'm fine. I think
Okay,
you did a pretty
yeah.
good job of
Yeah.
reviewing those during the work session.
And actually, they all lived on page 7 of the document,
Right.
those changes, but.
Doreen, on page 9, where it talks about Chapter 3, conduct of the governing body,
I'm sorry?
page 9,
Mm-hmm.
paragraph B, conduct with members.
Yes.
I'm sure this is just an oversight. It says, "No member shall conduct themselves in a manner that is unbecoming of a member of the Gardner City Council." Do we need to add "or mayor," or was that meant to be governing body?
I can definitely change that to governing body. One of the changes that council had asked back in December at our work session was to change, if you will see governing body members shall, and it will give you a bullet point listing. So what I can do, Mr. Fedovich, is go ahead and change the wording from Gardner City Council to governing body in that sentence.
Of the governing body. I'd like to see that change as well.
Sure.
Very good. A lot of hard work, Doreen. Thank you.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Doreen. Good job.
How would council like to proceed with ordinance number 2424?
I move we pass ordinance number 2424, adding the governing body rules of procedure version March 18, 2013 to Title II, Chapter 2.05, to the municipal code of the city of Gardner, Kansas by incorporating by reference.
Second.
Motion Morrow, second Freeman, that we pass ordinance 2424. Morrow,
Yes.
Freeman,
Yes.
Fedovich,
No.
Gregorsik,
Yes.
Harrison.
Yes.
2424 passes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Doreen. Okay. Staff, any updates for council?
No update.
No? Council, updates for staff, questions?
I've got one for Captain Moore.
Go ahead.
In speaking with some of our citizens, they were concerned about the tractor-trailer parking in the Walmart parking lot from a safety perspective. So the neighborhood directly west, which would include the trailer development as well as the single-family homes, kind of in that area, and was just wondering what our stance was and what we can do to, understand that from a safety perspective.
That is probably a private property. It has been posted by them. There's an agreement that we have with them to remove them. However, in the cases in the past where we've asked to go in and have them sign the citations for that, they've been reluctant to sign citations against those truck drivers that park there. But we do go in on a regular basis and remove them, contact the drivers and have them move.
Thank you.
I'm just curious, though, I thought that they adopted that part of the code for their parking lot. I mean, isn't there a sign that says, in accordance with that city code, and then that kind of parking is not allowed?
Right, they've posted no parking, but since they're the owners of the property, they usually sign the complaints against them. We do go in and run them off.
Do they have to sign the complaint? I mean, if a citizen signs, is willing to sign...
A citizen can always sign a complaint, yeah.
I mean, when a citizen calls in and says, remove the trucks, don't we get their authorization to sign the complaint? Wouldn't that be...
If the citizen comes in and signs the complaint against them, and, sometimes when we've given warnings to them, we go back, they're still there, our officers have signed complaints citations against them as well.
And so the citizen has to physically sign the complaint, is that my understanding?
Well, or the officer, isn't that what you said, that the officer could sign the complaint?
You said they do.
They do.
So, when do we decide if the officer signs it, letting the...
If it's multiple offenses against the one person. If we usually try to go in and warn them first, to leave.